This is number 3?
Part 3, yeah.
Part 3? Okay, Moray Rabotai, Chavirai. We started this 2 weeks ago, and hopefully we're going to continue. We have another 3 more to go. Hadracha limtzoa zivug. Guidance, now, to find your other half. And I have to repeat this, and there's always yotzei min haklal. And especially in shidduchim, there's millions of yotzei min haklal. Yotzei min haklal is, there is no rule that's set in stone when you're going out. When you're trying to find the zivug, there is no rule that's set in stone. En davar kazeh. It doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. There has to be always some sort of compromise and some sort of giving in order to accept the better good. And we said last week that one of the most important things before even getting into the shidduchim is, first of all, hadracha, having a rebbe or having a madricha, very important. Because if you don't have the proper guidance, if you don't have the proper guidance, you will do a wrong decision. Based solely on emotions and not on seichel. And if you have certain degrees of trauma. I was this Shabbat, one of my friends is a very big shadchan. Very big. He's part of one of the biggest organizations in America. And he came to my house, he lives in Lakewood, came to my house, and we were discussing this certain concept of trauma. Now, I know last week I said the person has to go into shidduchim, he has to understand that he's not getting married in order to run away. People think they're going to get married, they're running away from something, and not realizing whatever you're running away from, you're just bringing it with you. And you're going to introduce all the balagan to someone new, and that's the biggest issue in the world. Because when a man and a girl get married, they want a fresh slate. They want to start michadash. They don't want packages that are coming into the relationship that are unnecessary, that can be solved beforehand. Now, by saying this, we have to also understand you will be coming into any relationship with some sort of package. This is the mitziyut in life. You don't come out of your mother's stomach and get married the same day. Those kind of people have no problems. They're starting clean. En davar kazeh. So a person has to ask himself, or as we're discussing, what are these criteria of these major traumas that a person shouldn't start going on shidduchim until he himself figures out the situation. Of course, if someone's already married and has a situation, doesn't mean now he has to get divorced in order to figure it out and then get back to marriage. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying before, what are these things? Now, if a person is emotionally or mentally abused, for whatever reason, it's irrelevant. If it was for yeshiva, if it was by his parents, if it was because he found out devastating news that changed the course of his life. All these things, you have to understand, must be somehow guided. It can never be fixed 100%, but it can be guided in order for you to have a normal havana and a normal hadracha in order to go in shidduchim, in order to get married. Because if you get married, I'm having this case right now, and this is why I'm so upset. You know, when you're a speaker, when you're a rabbi, everyone likes to just dump all their garbages on you, and they think the rabbi just listens, he puts it in his side pocket, and continues with his day. Not knowing that this person right now is going now to do the rest of his day and the rest of his life with everyone's luggages. So I'm walking with everyone's luggages, and I'm over here trying to give a normal shiur. And that's the problem. And that's a big problem. And even as someone that speaks has to be always what I say before we started recording. You always have to be happy, whatever it is. People look at me, what is he talking about? The reason to it is because you have so much of other people's things on your shoulder, you don't know really what to do. And you'll never know what to do. The only thing to do is have pure emunah HaKadosh Baruch Hu and daven. So if someone is going through a major traumatic experience, he is not allowed. Do not think if you get married, all problems go away. Lo haya velo yeh. It's impossible. You just make it worse. You just take your own trauma and you just dump it on someone else's head and say, oh, you have to deal with it, you're my wife, or you have to deal with it, you're my husband. No, wait, I don't have to deal with nothing. But what's going on over here? So that's something we have to understand. What trauma is normal? What trauma is normal? A trauma that you already started working upon. When you already start working on yourself on certain things that you had certain problems with, you already know you're going in the right path. But if someone was bullied all his life and goes into a marriage and his wife just says, boo, oh, you're bullying me, that's a big issue. And people don't realize this because then they think their whole life they're just getting bullied from her. Or he's bullying you and he's making fun of me, and the Megillah never ends and the dreidel never stops spinning. So this is something you have to know. When you're going to get married, it's a pure avodah pnimi. You're working on your midot from the second you say Harei ad mikudesh sheli b'tabat zo until you go under the ground and someone's saying Kaddish. And I don't want to scare you. Also up there. Also up there, your wife's going to see you. You say, I'm here. Can't run away from me. Let's do this. Oh, I thought I left you. What's going on? No, ya habibi. I'm right here. I'm not going nowhere. You have to understand this fact. Marriage shouldn't be an escape. It's not an escape. You cannot use it as an escape route. That's the destruction. It has to be in a sense of I want to build. Lagdil Torah v'ladira. It's a small recap. And again, how do you do it? Lamaisa, we live in the 21st century, the same way how we have to do resumes, which we'll talk about today. This is the topic of today. Resumes and first date. A little bit, which I'm scared to talk about because anyone that knows me knows I'm very much against this new resume thing. But unfortunately, we live in this generation where the Bnei Ashkenaz have conquered most of our known world, and this is the way they work. Unfortunately, we got sucked into it. Not me, Baruch. I got married before this kind of nonsense came to existence. But people are going through it, and they're suffering major. They're suffering from this, which we will discuss. But before we discuss that, we have to understand you need hadracha. If a hadracha is a therapist, so be it. There's nothing wrong with going, what is it, a shrink they call it nowadays? There's nothing wrong to going to a therapist. Nothing. If he has Yad Shamayim, he's keeping Torah mitzvot, he goes by hadrachat of Torah mitzvot only, then there's no problem with that. If you have a Rebbe that you can connect to or you don't have, that you're looking for and that you're seeking for, very important. A Rebbe that's not going to judge you in any way, shape or form, but is going to hear you and willing to help you with pure ahavat chinam, and they do exist. Or a madricha, someone that, for a girl that she can connect to and so on and so forth, that she can guide and she can show you the right path with your same hashkafa. Very important that this madricha has your same hashkafa. You can't go to someone that doesn't know your background and how you live and how you were raised. It's not like giving them your own hashkafa. It doesn't work this way. You can't go to a Hasidic guy and ask for advice. He says, no, you have to date only twice. Once, the first time you see you get engaged. The second time is during the engagement. The third time you get married. This is all beautiful and I wish it existed. But it's not the reality anymore for us. It doesn't go this way. No one gets married after 2 dates. It doesn't, especially in our circles. So that's something you have to understand. You need someone that can be with you enaim le'enaim, panim al panim, someone that's realistic. They came to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. It's a funny joke, but it's true. They have it recorded. A guy was going on shidduchim, and we all know it says that who are your kids are gonna. The Torah says, Rashi says this. Who are the kids gonna be very much midot wise? Who are they gonna take their midot from? And the Torah says like the uncle, the wife's brothers. So one guy goes to Rav Chaim Kanievsky and says, "Listen, I'm going out with a girl. She has 2 brothers. One brother is a tzaddik and one brother is a rasha. Should I marry her?" You know what he answers? Marry half of her. He said, "That's like as a joke." Like these stuff you cannot predict. Yeah, of course, Yad Shamayim is very important, so on and so forth. But people cannot start breaking shidduchim and everything goes well and says, "Oh, your brother is not Yad Shamayim. He doesn't go tefillah 2 times a day. He's not a tzaddik yisod olam." I know this shidduch is not working. That's normally, you're normal. It doesn't go this way. So a person has to be realistic. And And again, it's very important to find a madrich and madricha. And I tell you personally, when I got married, I had a madrich, but not to the extent that I should have had. And Baruch Hashem, I got one on time after I got married, and it saved me a lot. It saved my marriage. There's nothing to be ashamed about. People always say, why do you give your life story? Because there's no one is greater to learn from a Baal Nisayon. Someone that experiences it is the greatest person you can learn from. It's a fact. Like these shoemakers, they tell their kids, go be doctors. It's very easy. You just have to be in school for 15 years. It's very easy. Nothing to do. What's so hard to do? You listen to the professor, you take notes, you take an exam. And you got a person that's in the medical school says, yo, I don't know what your parents are thinking about, but Baruch Hashem, they're shoemakers. Because that's not the way it works. They're not a Baal Nisayon. Okay. Resumes. What is the most important part of the resume? From my experience of talking to different shadchanim and different madrechim and different mashpim, I saw that the most important thing on that resume is the references. Everything else on that resume, you can take it and shred it. Nowadays it's on the phone, but you can press delete. Everything else. Because of course everyone's going to write, I want a beautiful life, I want Torah mitzvot. Who's not going to write that? Everyone's going to write that. Let's be lemaisa, let's talk factual. And even if you're not in the religious world, let's say you're in the secular world, right? Every person says, I love to travel, and they play you a nice big imagination. You're thinking you're going into, like Tarzan, when you're getting married, the next day, your honeymoon's going to be here. After that, you're going to go there. No, ya habibi. We're connected to the ground. Let's be common sense. So the most important thing is two things. Number one is the references. Let's say you don't go through the process, right? You got set up from a friend. A friend set you up with someone, right? You have to do your due diligence to find out who this person is. Do not assume in any way, shape, or form because he's a sweetheart and he knows how to sugar things up, that's the kind of person he is. It doesn't go this way. You have to do your due diligence. This is actually the process of shidduchim. The most important process is to find out who this person is. Not to the extent that you have to find out who his great grandmother is, unless he's a kohen or some sort. That's not necessary. Oh, what are you getting? Oh, I had a case. I feel bad for this person. Hashem Yishma V'Rachem. 5 generations in a certain town in Uzbekistan, their families fought. That's why they don't want to get married. That's why the parents don't want the 2 kids to get married. Ya Habibi, it was 5 generations. It happened to your great-great-grandfather. What's to you and to the girl right now? This is already history. No one even remembers it. And the guy calls me every day. He's crying, bechi, tears that are bigger than grapes. He's saying, Rabbi, my mother is so primitive. I don't know what to do. She doesn't want me to get married to her. She's a good girl. Yeret Shamayim, everything. Why? Because once upon a time, one relative hurt one of my relatives' feelings. This is tifshut. This is primitive, and this is very dumb.
Do you listen to the parents because it's people love?
One second, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna definitely depends. But you cannot make an assumption if the boy or the girl has Yirat Shamayim over here on the spot, and they worked on themselves. And we know this, especially in our community. How many of our guys and our girls went through a certain process, right? They went through a certain process. We're all raised in somewhat traditional houses. And the boy comes and says he's going to become more Yirat Shamayim. And he goes, does his due diligence. And the girl says she's going to become more Yirat Shamayim. And she does her due diligence. And suddenly, because there is someone in the family that's really wacko, everything gets breaking. That doesn't go this way. It's normal. It's not normal. But it's very important to find out 2 things. Who the person is. In a resume, you get it through the references. But let me tell you something, that's not good enough. And I'll tell you why. There's another thing that's very important, to see where this person went to yeshiva. Both. for a guy or for a girl, even in a public school. Just 1 second. You know, if you would marry off your kid, anyone here has kids? I have kids. If I would marry off my kids, I wouldn't just rely on what's there. I would try to really find out what's going on. Who's this person? Not because I am an old grandma that likes to know information or Lashon Hara. No, because I know my child is going to live for the rest of his or her life with this person. This person is going to be the father or the mother, the husband or the wife of my grandkids. And for me, this is very extremely important. So a person has to understand all the pictures you see. Yeah, Habibi, ask your question first. Go.
The resume, everything on the resume can be quote unquote deleted, changed. It's not really a true representation of the person, but why need it in the first place?
Because we live in a society that's the way we do shidduchim. Do I agree with it? I don't agree with it. I'm telling you right now, I don't agree with it. I think it's very bad.
Don't agree with me or the system?
No, with the system. I'm telling you personally. And I know I have shadchanim that scream at me, say, no, we do agree with it. And for a big reason, I fight with them all the time. I personally don't agree with it. But is this the path that you're in? You are, unfortunately. You're in the generation, unless your parents or your friends are not going to set you up, which I don't agree so much, but whatever the case is, then how else are you going to find a shidduch? You have to know what to work with. A person can't say, I'm a barber, and today, since I don't have my stuff, I'm going to use a clipper, what they used to clip back in the day, what they used to shear sheep with. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to use what you have. So you're in this system, unfortunately. Same thing with college. The first 4 years of undergrad, you can take that whole thing and throw it in the garbage. You don't need it. You don't need anything to do with the undergrad. It's a pure waste of time and waste of money. Unfortunately, since you're not with the Ashkenazim, so you don't know how to cut corners. For this, you have to know how to use them. You don't know how to cut corners, so you go through the 4 years of school and you go through hell, or 2 years. Depends if you take summer and fall semester as well. And you're doing the system. There's nothing you can do about it. The same thing. So you have a certain situation. Unfortunately, you were born in this generation. And in this generation, this is the way they do shidduchim nowadays. Again, I can disagree on it. You want to know a fact? My kids are also going to have to go through it. You want to know why? Because this is the generation. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. Until where do the chakirot have to get to? I have a student that told me, Rabbi, this is a girl, 1 in a million. Look at her resume. Look at it. Look at the resume. And I'm looking at the resume, and I said, Ya Habibi, can I tell you something? But don't get offended. He said, what? I said, you know when you go on social media, you change the face picture? You ever saw one of those? You know, you change it like this, there's something, you have a line here, you have this, you can grow hair out of nowhere, suddenly bald men have hair. I don't know from where, I know the guy said he's bald, how does he have hair in this picture? Like, what's going on? The girl says, yeah, look, he's one of your students. I said, no, this is not my student. My student is Karacha, this guy has hair. I said, I want you to know, you're going to meet this guy, this is not who he is. He said, he goes on the shidduch, he had kafad lev. He had a heart attack. This is why Rav Mutzafi fought in Eretz Yisrael. I don't know if anyone knows the politics. Not to put a picture on the resume. Not to put a picture. Especially for the girls. He was very fighting. Why should a girl get judged? Through her physical appearance. He was fighting. He was fighting with all the shadchanim in Israel. He said, how can a man be so dirty and disgusting that he should go through a whole stack? You don't even know what's going on in this shidduch world. Men have an option of 50 girls at a time. They go through like it's like going to the grocery store. Wow. No, not this one. Not this one. And they're going through and they're picking which one yes, which one no. This is the cycle. He said, take off the picture. Why? Because you shouldn't judge the person by the look.
Girls also.
You're right. You're 100% right. I'm not saying that. You're 100% right. 100% right. I'm not disagreeing with you.
But not for the same reasons we do, right?
Yes. They're not aliens. You think a woman doesn't want a good-looking guy? What do you think? They do. Rabbi Sai, girls want it as much as boys. But they're willing to deal with certain things that guys are not willing to deal with. Their tolerance is different than a man's tolerance. That's the only difference. It's not that they don't want, they want. But their tolerance is different. Since they're more built b'gvura, they're willing to handle different things. And a man is more built with chesed, so he's cannot handle certain things. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a man and a woman, because he knows there are certain things that a man can put into the relationship, and there are certain things that a woman can bring into the relationship. And together, again, marriage is the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. The most beautiful thing. On one condition, but if you find the right partner. If you find the wrong partner, it will be living hell. You will wish to be in the fires of hell, whatever that means, more than to be married to this person. But if you have that right partner, you have to doubt yourself if you have Olam Haba, because you have Gan Eden over here. That's how important a marriage and finding a spouse is. That's how important it is. Of course, if you have a good wife, you're still going to have Olam Haba. That's just a saying that they say. 100%. So automatically, when you go through this paper that they give you, in our days, they didn't give us a resume. You know what they only showed us? They only showed us a picture. When we were going out, they used to send pictures to friends. You like how she looks? Yalla habibi. Goes. I'm setting up the date. Who is she? What is she? Or the opposite. Who's the guy? What is he? Maybe some crazy lunatic you're going out with. Maybe he's crazy. We never knew. And this is why to judge a person by the picture is very, 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 very bad.
Isn't that the point of the date?
To get to know them when you're at the date. Not to start building assumptions before the date. I have a Talmud. He's more a Chaver Talmid. He told me as follows. And I learned a big Musar Hiskel from this person. He's an elderly guy. He's in his 30s. And he told me a Shadchan set him up with someone. He went out. He was getting ready. He went to go pick her up. And as he's going to pick her up, he remembers the house. He's like, I've been here before. I've been here. I know this house. And like a gentleman, he goes, he knocks on the door. And who does he see? Someone that he dated 3-4 years ago. Now, be honest, you would say, Zelo, it's not going to work out. We already tried it, thank you. I'm sorry, the Shatchad made a mistake. Have a good night. He didn't do that. He had some derech eretz. If he did right or wrong is irrelevant. But he had derech eretz. He had manners. He said, the Shadchan set us up, let's go on a date. Maybe it's going to work out. I don't know. And if not, you got a free meal. What's there to lose? And they went on a date and it didn't work out. But you know what happened? Because he had derech eretz, she told the Shadchan, and the Shadchan gave her own niece to the guy. And they got married. Don't think now if you see the person and you don't like them, you have to treat them like a dog. This is lacking derech eretz, lacking manners. Treat the person you're going out with like a human being. How many stories, Rav Chaim can I ask you, now, the Stipler has a story how a Bachur Yeshiva, very prominent, let's break it in our terms, a very successful businessman. Right? Successful, making money, good looking, tall, has all the criteria. Everyone's looking for this kind of person. He went on a shidduch. It was going well. And he said, no, listen, I can do better. You know those guys? I can do better. And they're still 50 years old. They're still doing better. I can do better. I can do better. He got engaged to a different girl. 3 weeks before the wedding, batel, canceled. This happened to him 3 times. Imagine being engaged 3 times and having it batel. The worst thing in the world. He goes to the stipler and he says, I don't know what's going on with me. Something wrong with my mazal? Suddenly Ashkenazim becoming Saradim. Something wrong with my mazal? What's going on? The stipler says, get out of my house. I don't want to see you. Get out. Get out of my house. Now, it's the worst feeling in the world. You're going to ask a gadol a door for a bracha and he's kicking you out of the house. Now you think for sure you're done. You have no shidduch. You're going to be single for life. A month later, he goes back. Same thing. The stipler says, "You think I forgot you? Get out of my house!" So he sends his friend. He said, "Listen, you're going to the Talmid Chacham. I'm going to write you my name. And he's not going to know me for my name, you know." The stipler gets it. He says, "Him? I'm not giving him a bracha." He didn't see the guy's face. "I'm not giving this guy a bracha." You know what this guy did? He hurt the person's feeling. He hurt someone's feeling. The guy he told his friend, "Listen, the stipler said you hurt someone very bad." He's like, "Who did I hurt?" Sitting, thinking, and he remembers one time he hurt a girl's feelings so bad, and he went to find her. And what did he find out? She's also not married. And he calls her up. And as soon as the girl heard his voice, she hung up the phone. On the spot. He calls again. She's like, "I'm not speaking to you." Ever dated an Israeli girl? Different level. "I'm not speaking to you." Hangs up the phone. Bah! B'kitzur, he goes to her house. He knocks on the door. He said, "I beg you. I know I hurt your feelings." What did he do? I tell you what he did. He led her on. Everything's nice and beautiful. Hakol chashuv, hakol yafeh. He led her on. Got her hopes high. And said, "Bye-bye. Have a good day." And she got hurt. Years passed and she still hurts from this instance. And she forgave him. And he got married a couple months after. People have to understand, when you hurt someone else's feelings in a shidduch, you're going to pay for it. If it's your fault and you lead them on, you're going to pay for it. Midah keneged midah. You cannot assume it's a free lunch in this world. You can do whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyah b'dvaro.
Amen.
You cannot do whatever you want. You have to understand, you're going in a shidduch, you have to have certain derechas. Is it proper? I want to ask you this question. Is it proper, since we are traditional religious community, I call it a chillin' bowl, we don't know really what we are. One day we're Haredim, the next day we are traditional, the next day we are not keeping no Torah mitzvot, and the next day we're back to Haredi. That's what we are. Depends if Shabbat, which day is Shabbat, which day is Chol HaMoed and everything, it depends. Is it proper to bring a girl flowers on the first date? Question. I have a question to ask you. I don't know. I do know, my rabbis told me. But just to hear the audience opinion, I just want to know. Mata choshev. What do you think?
In Russia, yes.
In Russia, yes.
Here, no.
In America, no. Okay, I heard your opinion. How about you? What do you girls think? No?
I don't think it's a big deal.
You don't think it's a big deal?
That's how well you know.
How well you know him? Okay. I spoke to my Rebbe about this, and he said, because last year a lot of people were very much screaming at me about this, and I confronted him about it, and he said it is not that it's not proper, it's something shalom nahug. It's not something we do anymore. Now let's say you know this girl is extremely traditional. She's traditional. You're going to say Bukhara, not Bukhara. She brought Bukhara here, baby. That's what she did. You're going into that house, you know you're going back into Uzbekistan, right? You better get her those flowers. You want to know why? Excuse me. Because unfortunately, in such a household, it's not just the girl making the decision. A person has to be a bardat. He has to be smart. He has to have the fifth chelik of Shulchan Aruch. There's 4. What's the fifth one?
Common sense.
Common sense. Not so common anymore, but that's what a person has to have. If you know you're going out with a girl that's more modern, more Haredi, you don't do that. It's not something you do. One second. It's not something you do. You don't do that. Lehefech, if you do that, you turn her off. She'll say, forget about it. The guy lives back in Uzbekistan. I cannot live with this guy. So a person has to know his clientele. You have to know your clientele.
So it's not based on what's back in the day, it's situation.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. A person has to understand, you have to know, and you'll only know that when you do your research about the girl. When a person doesn't do the research about the girl, what does he think? Oh, they're all the same. What does it make a difference? Akol mutar. It doesn't make a difference. I come with, I don't come with. So he goes to, knocks on the door, she comes out, and she's expecting something totally different, or he's expecting something totally different. And what happens? He didn't know what he did wrong, or she didn't know what she's doing wrong. And it's just a lack of communication, a lack of common sense. It's a lack of common sense. A person has to understand this. Shiduch Rishona. On the first date. What's going on the first date? Or what's your question?
What if the parents, so sometimes, let's say the girl she's more like Haredi, she's more modern, but the parents are Bukhari.
Okay.
You don't bring flowers. Then the parents have what's it called? You didn't bring flowers.
That's exactly why I'm telling you have to know your clientele. That's exactly my point.
You're supposed to know the girl's
No. You missed the first 20 minutes of the shiur. You're coming to know everything. I'm going to explain to you. Because since you missed, I'll recap in 2 sentences. When you do your proper due diligence research about the family and about the girl, you'll know. If you don't do your research, you'll never know. So you'll wing it. And your wing it will make the wrong decision. But if you do your research, which you have to do, you cannot go on a date blindly. You cannot. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. When you know these facts, you know how to act accordingly. You know to get hadracha. You ask your Rabbi, should I do it or should I not? This is a personal question, what you just asked. That's why when you have someone, a madrich, to ask, he'll tell you in that instance if yes and if no. Because it varies. Some girls are more atzmai. You know what atzmai is? They're more self-confident. Even though their parents might say he's crazy, he's that, she knows how to make a decision. Those kind of girls, you don't need to do it. But there are other girls that are not like that. They're more soft-hearted. Their parents' opinion is extremely important. And none of them is right or wrong. It's just who a person is. Beteva, that's the person's nature. Maybe for that case you do have to bring it. But that you'll never know until you are being madrich with someone. Until you're speak it over to your Rebbeim. If you're not going to speak it over to your Rebbe or to someone that has a little bit more bardat, you'll never know the answer to this. So there's always Yotzei min haklal. Now, the first date. Sorry, leave it. Lefi dati, lefi dat mori v'Rebbe, lefi dat normal human beings, people think the first date has to be, I don't know, reserve cut. I don't know, what other high-end restaurants are there? Don't say names. Whatever the case is. Ta'ut gadoli. Ta'ut gadoli. It's an extremely big mistake. First of all, I'll tell you why. Common sense. She's not ordering anything. She's not. She's just not. You can eat a salad. She's gonna order a salad, not even eat it. That's what's gonna happen. You're wasting the momentum. The momentum is not to impress her right now. The momentum is to get to know her. To see if there's a certain, I don't like to use the word click, but if there's a certain language between one another. The point is not to right now to go and to come with a nice, I had a Talmud, he doesn't go on a date if he doesn't have his Rolex on. He's crazy. He's still not married. He's going to be like that for a long time. He has to wear a certain shirt that it's not too long, so when he goes like this, it pops off, but when he doesn't do like that, it's only halfway. It's like cheshbonot he has. He thinks that he's going to some chashuv. No, not him, someone else. somebody else, right? You come to think this cheshbonot and not realizing you're missing the whole point. Or a girl comes with a ton amount of makeup, like you can go and carve it off of her. And like, what are you doing? Who are you fooling? Who are you? Be yourself. You don't need to convince anyone to marry you. You have to know your own worth. I'm not telling you now to walk without makeup. I never said that. I'm just saying don't put like you put the whole thing that you put the whole Sephora thing on your face like this. You're walking with the whole thing on your face. No one said to do that. You don't need to do that. You shouldn't want to do that. Because if the guy cannot look at you and say and appreciate you for who you are, then he's not needed for you. He's not there for the right reasons.
I was told by a shotgun, who knows about it, who has obviously dealt with a lot of girls, that on the first date, the guy should take the girl to a more expensive restaurant so that she could see right away that he's not cheap.
How much does a shotgun take? Doesn't take anything? I disagree.
Maybe that's just her.
I disagree with the shotgun. Lahefech. The point of the first date is not to eat. The point of the first date is to talk.
I agree.
The point of the first date, I know, I'm not telling you now to go to a Starbucks and have a coffee with her because that's abnormal. Lamaisa, that doesn't go that way. You can take her to a normal cafe. You can take her to a normal place that you can. The point of the date, the point of the shidduch is not the steak that's on your plate. I know guys that like to do shows. They go, they tip the waiters, they tip the managers before. So everyone thinks he's some like boss coming into the place. Comes in, yeah, everyone knows what he wants to order. He's ordering this and order that. And the girl's looking at him like, and this I'm talking about a girl that's serious, not one of these flingers that just want to have a good time. She's like, what is this whole atzaga? What's this whole... This guy got the shock of his life when he heard this. He's like, what? Aren't you supposed to like these kind of things? And she's like, no, I don't like it. I didn't come for waiters to come and pamper me. I came to know who you are. I want to know who you are. To take her to a small cafe on the first date, there's nothing wrong. Plus, you're not emptying out your pockets for nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. It has nothing to do with being cheap or not. It has to do with being logical. Everyone's scared on the first date. Regardless what you tell me, you'll know the girl for 5 years. You'll know the guy for 10 years. You're scared on the first date. You don't want to ruin it. That becomes the first impression at that moment. A person has to understand, you're going on a first date? First, you take her somewhere light, easy going, nothing crazy, somewhere that you can talk, you can air out, you can vent, you can discuss different things, who you are as a person, so on and so forth. Get into certain details of those 10 questions that we discussed in the first shiur. You don't discuss all of it on the first. You have to take out of those 10 questions which 2 are the most vital for you. Like chok v'lo yavor, the most crucial. And through those questions you already know, can there be a second date or there can't be a second date. I always tell my talmidim, you don't break up with a girl until you go out with her at least twice. Unless she, I don't know, lo yodea. If you don't go out with her twice, you cannot break it off. You cannot. You don't know the person. You just judged her 80% because of her looks. 80%. Unless she's mamash to the point that you're about to laki ala ritzpah, that's a different story. No one's talking about it. Everyone bar dat's going to tell you no. You don't know the person. The first time everyone's nervous. Everyone is, oh my God, the girl is for 2 days thinking what she's going to wear. The guy's over there worried. He's using the bathroom every half an hour. Boo, he doesn't have to use the bathroom, but he's going to the bathroom back and forth. He's not sure what to reserve, what to drive, who to think. He's freaking out. He's going crazy. And you expect on the first date everything to go smooth? In which world you live? You yourself not doing well. How you expect the first date to go well?
Second day also.
It's a little less, but the stress is not there. It's a little less. It's a little less. A person has to understand that. And you get into discussions. You get into discussions, right? Of who you are as a person. People forget to ask these questions. Why? They're so into details that don't define the person as a person. It's the biggest problem. the biggest problem in the world. You have to mannerfully know who you're going out with. Who is she? What is she? What kind of life she wants to have? How does she see her life being formed? How does she want to raise her kids? These are very important small details, but extremely important. These are the make it or the break it questions. The kids are extremely important. The hashkafa in the house is extremely important. Where to live, that goes on the second or third date even. Because once a person finds a kesher, they're willing to do anything for the other person. People don't realize this. People in this generation, they forgot how to talk. They're so into the phone and the AI, and now AI. You don't even need to text. You can program texting to your girlfriend. I know a guy that does this.
Wow.
Good morning, good night, good afternoon. How are you? How was your day? And he programs how to answer. Can you imagine? Such a chokhmah. You know what I told him? When you get married, what are you gonna do? You're gonna send the AI to the house? Is that what you're gonna do? Like, are you? Have you lost your brain? Like, where are you? This is your life. This is your kids. How are your kids gonna feel? My father was takoi no shut. He sent the AI, and it's sad. We're laughing about it, but it's people do this.
You have to make a weird time that way.
I see. That's what he's saying. Okay, but it's something you don't do. You cannot. You don't want to lie, right? You don't want to get married and figure out this guy is who is he? This is not who I dated. Before the marriage, all the hearts. After the marriage, all the broken hearts. It's like, what's going on? It's the wrong emojis. You know what I'm talking about? And that's why the first date has to be very bekam, bitsniuta, with menuchat hanefesh. You don't have to kill yourself. Your mommies don't have to kill yourself. A person that thinks they have to kill themselves, they're too nervous. They're gonna ruin it for themselves. You have to understand something. If it's meant to be, it's gonna be. If it's not meant to be, then don't break a sweat over it. Because God forbid, I think it was the visions the Rebbe said, when a child gets engaged, you have to start fasting and crying. When a child breaks a shidduch, you have to make a party. Why? Why? Because once he gets engaged, it's sealed deal. Now you have to pray that this mazal ends up banarmaina. It should end up normal. It shouldn't end up with problems. But if they broke it, Baruch Hashem, Hashem's saving their relationship. They're not gonna lose. They're not gonna lose their sanity, because it's harder to fix a marriage. Harder to fix a marriage than to break off an engagement. It's extremely difficult. So this is my hadracha, that a person on the first two dates should definitely be easygoing. I'm gonna take your question. I saw you. Has to be easygoing. Cannot go crazy. Cannot finesse it to another level. You have to ask yourself, again, nothing wrong with this, what I'm about to say. It depends on teva. If you know there's a girl that's mamish that really likes this kind of stuff, or you know a guy that really, this is what he does, and you yourself don't like it, then why are you even going out with them? Who are you lying to? Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. If you know this girl likes such things and you're not that kind of guy, don't do it. Because this is just the beginning to a lot of issues in the future. Getting married is not a kiruv case. It's not an SI case. You're not going to work on. It's not a patient. Your future husband is not a patient. At least I hope he shouldn't be a patient, right? Right? She's not. You're not here to change her, to fix her, to do your whole shticks. She is who she is. You are who you are. When you get married, that's another story. We're not talking about that right now. That's a whole different ball game. Right now, you're gonna realize you're not even in the minor leagues. When you get married, you go straight into the big leagues. It's a different ball game. And that's why the first two shidduchim have to be b'hadracha. Have to be going smooth, nice, bitsniuta. After the second, third day, do whatever you want. You want to take her out to the fancy restaurant? Take her out to the fancy restaurant. Do I think it's healthy for a couple to go out for so long? Absolutely not. I'm very against it. Very. There's no reason. You're not gonna know anything more after the 5th date to the 15th date. You won't know. You'll just expect more. You'll expect him to treat you like a wife because you're going out for that long.
Yeah, but people change once they get like comfortable.
They don't change. That's who they really are.
Yeah.
And if you would do your research beforehand, you would know that. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you.
You're gonna ask their mom if they keep their
No,
room.
you're gonna ask their friends. You're gonna ask their teachers. You're gonna ask the people that they go to school with.
That's a creep.
It's not a creep. You know what's a bigger creep? Getting divorced. And then stalking your ex-wife forever.
I heard it's a mitzvah.
It is a mitzvah to get divorced. It is. Unfortunately, it is. It's a mitzvah to get divorced on certain instances. But trust me, you don't want to get divorced. I'm just letting you know. It's a bigger mitzvah not to get divorced.
Agreed.
More.
And trust me, unfortunately, a lot of divorcees, they get scarred forever. They become stalkers to their exes. And that's the worst thing. That's a bigger creep. That's the biggest creep of your life. Not a person that's going to try to figure out who am I marrying, who am I spending the next 80, 90 years of my life with, who I'm going to be sharing the most intimate things and the most holiest things, who am I going to raise my kids with. You're not a creep. You're a normal person that wants to do the right thing.
So then I can't be in a relationship for a year or two before spending 80 years with them?
You can be in any relationship you want. What I'm telling you is you're not going to get any benefit in being with her for a year before marriage. You know what will happen? I'll tell you exactly what will happen. It will be all flowers and clouds for the first 3 months until you get your first fight after 3 months, and then you're going to feel like you're married but without any of the benefits. That means you're chayiv to do everything for her without any benefit of being a married man. And then you're going to tell yourself, why do you need this? I'm not married to her. She's already expecting me to be married to her. And that's when you break it off. Instead of saying, I'm here now, 3 months, I went out with her. And let me tell you something. I spoke to guys that think like you. Yeah, Habibi, after the first 2 months, they're dying to get married. They're dying. They're going crazy. Rabbi, I want to marry her. I say, you just went out with her? You just went know her for 2 months. What happened to going out for 1 year, 16 months? You want to know her? You want to... No, Rabbi, I can't anymore. This is all shtuyot. It's shtuyot now. Halev chomeh. When the heart gets hot, you cannot play with your Yetzer Hara. When you will feel what I'm talking about, you'll come back to me and call me and say, Rabbi, you're 100% right. How can I get married? I guarantee it to
What
you.
if there's really no difference between being married and being in a relationship?
Then that's the problem.
There is a big difference.
There is... Shh. It's not a discussion here. It's there. I'm going to explain something to you.
Marriage you touch.
You know...
What if you're already touching?
No.
1 second. We're going to get into that topic. We're going to get into that. It's good that you brought it up.
Why do you have to get married? For
You
real?
should know something. The second you allow... I want this, what I'm about to tell you, is pure in the hands of the woman. 100%. The second you allow a guy to touch you, even by mistake, you know those guys, I don't know, they're trying to get their phone and her phone is in the cup holder and she touches, oh, I'm so sorry, and Karochi's so sorry, all the shtiyot happen. The second you allow a guy to touch you, you ruined it for yourself. You ruined it. It's the worst thing in the world.
Why not for guys? Could you break it off then?
The guy doesn't know that he's ruining himself at that point. Because in his mind, what is he thinking of only? Shtuyot and ta'avot. It blinds him from the reality of who the person really is.
Exactly.
That's the problem. That's the problem. But if you do it betara, if you do it betara, if you do it with certain guidelines, there are certain midot that will never come out.
So you're saying you're
But
allowed?
When you respect her in that way, she will know to always respect you.
But you're not exactly clear-minded until you've had it, right?
No. You're wrong. You see, before you're married and you do averot with her, eventually you'll have no problem getting rid of her. No problem. Why? Once Adam Rishon tasted from the forbidden tree, It went all south. I don't need to go through the whole Sefer Bereshit. It went all south. Until the man doesn't get to that level, right? Everything is okay. Everyone agrees there are certain, you're never going to marry a person that's perfect. Doesn't exist, ya habibi. Never. Never in your life will you marry that person that's in your dreams. It doesn't exist. It only exists in your dream. That's why he's there. He's there because that's where he belongs. It doesn't exist. Everyone has flaws. Every human being on the planet Earth has flaws in their midot, in their hashkafa. And that's something a husband and wife needs to work with. When you show it before you're married, it's the biggest destruction in the world. Because you just showed your weakness. And when you show your weakness or she shows her weakness, I have no problem breaking the whole thing. Agav, when you're married, you're in a different perspective. What's the perspective? It needs to work out. This roller coaster that I'm going through, this first year, 3 years that I'm going through, this roller coaster I'm going through, it's going to work out. But if you do it beforehand, you don't care for it to work out. You're willing to drop it like that because I don't want to deal with this.
I feel like that's the position you should be in as a man.
And that mindset will make it that people like that never get married. You want to know why? The Gemara says, Darkei nashim litzroach. A woman's nature is to scream. Scream, right? Now, when you get to that madrega, right? When a woman can show her emotions in that sense, you as a guy would continue? You wouldn't. You would say she's crazy, forget about it. She's crazy. And if you say that about every girl, what's going to happen? You'll never get married. How come to you she scrammed, she went crazy, and for someone else she's married and she's fine with him? Because one was done properly and one was done not properly. That's exactly what it is. Marriage is only about one thing, working on your midot. I have a couple right now, Hashem Yishmor V'Rachem. Hashem should give them both that they should do the right thing.
Amen, amen.
He said, I cannot live with her anymore. I'm done. She's too much for me. I get physically, emotionally abused. This is his ta'ana. Am I saying he's right or wrong? I'm not getting into that right now. And I asked him a simple question. I said, as a man, are you doing your due diligence as a man for the house or you're not? And he said, honestly, I already gave up.
Every time.
I gave up. So I told him, how do you expect stuff to go properly if you gave up? One of her purposes of being on this earth is to make you a better person. For you to become a better person, you have to see where your flaws are. And she will tell you exactly where your flaws are. And if you'll be a man, you'll change it to the better. And if you'll be a whiner, you'll run away from it to think there's something else better out there. That is why we get married. To better ourselves to the ultimate betterness.
Girlfriend can't do that?
Nope.
Why do you have to have the whole...
Girlfriend cannot do
Why are you
that.
so against marriage, bro?
What's the difference?
Why do you care, bro?
What's
There's
your
no
already close
I'll tell you.
girl like
I'll
that?
tell you.
Why do you have to get married?
I'll tell you.
Well, if you're already, you feel like you're married basically, but you never got married.
Because when you don't seal the responsibility, when you don't seal it, the responsibility is not 100%. With a girlfriend, you can always
But you
play.
can get divorced.
You can't get divorced if you have a girlfriend.
But if you get married, you can still get divorced.
So your mindset has to be when you get married, that word doesn't exist in your house. You see, we live in a generation of plastic. I don't want something, I throw it away. I don't like something, I'm not going to spill this, that's coffee. I throw it away. I don't want to work on myself. Why do I need to work on myself? The sea, there's a lot of fish in the sea. You ever heard of that statement? A lot of fish. This 21st century. Don't worry about that. The water's going to be fine. Sit down. This generation is wacko. Wacko! They lost their brains. They lost their kahunas. Why? I don't like something, I'll change it. No, ya habibi, we don't change people. We're not going to change our wives like they're water. We're not changing our husbands like there's some soda machine. You go to the vending machine, new husband today. He should like Sprite or he should like Dr. Pepper. It doesn't go this way. Marriages, I married her. I was a man to make this decision. I was a girl that made this decision. I have to lead moded. I have to work it out in order to stay married. That's the mindset you need to have. If you have that mindset, for sure. Of course. I don't blame you. Of course I would think that way. Why? Hakol mutar. Today I want, tomorrow I don't want. Today this girl, tomorrow that girl. Swipe left. Swipe right. Right? But if you come in with the proper mindset, is that this is a chok v'lo yavor, ya habibi. This is really what I'm saying is supposed to be the last shiur. But since you asked it, I'll answer you. When a person comes with the mindset, this is who I married, and there is no turning back. Because you know what? She's going to come with different packages that you didn't know about. And he will also, trust me, with big packages he'll come. And before you know it, if both of you are not willing to work it out, to have a madrich involved in your relationship, so you should do the right decisions. And it shouldn't be a decision of emotion, but rather a decision of seichel, a decision of sense, something that makes sense, not something that I have to judge because I feel bad. Then, of course, you're going to get divorced.
Bro, 80% of relationships are broken by the woman.
100%.
This is
It's always the woman.
One second, you're watching too much Andrew Tate. First of all.
What color is
You're watching too much Andrew Gavno. Top Gavno. Top G stands for Gavno. That's who you're watching too much. Stop. That's not true. That's not true. It's not true. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. I do not agree to that.
haram?
I do not. Why you say that? You know why you say that? Can I tell you why you say that?
I'll tell you.
No, I'll tell you why you say that. Rabbi say, I'm not upset.
I'll give you my own statistics.
No. I'll tell you why. Can I tell you why? Before you give me your statistic, can I tell you why? I love when Boris is here. I'll tell you why. When a man in his mind says, I can get the forbidden fruit somewhere else, then of course most divorces come from a wife.
So it's not just that option, brother?
No.
Well, if you
Once you're married, there is no options.
But it's not because of divorce. It's not because of
Whoa.
cheating.
Wait.
It's not always
I'm not talking about
because of
cheating. When a man decides and says to himself, I don't need to mentally be stuck to this girl, tomorrow she'll divorce me, no problem. I have something else. That's the destruction for a guy. And that's why she wants to get divorced, because she's getting physically and mentally abused by her.
Facts.
But when a guy says, this is the only one I have, my neighbor, my coworker, my mother, I don't have nobody. This is it. This is the one. I chose her and I picked her and I married her. In his mind, he has one thing. How do I give her my full attention and pleasure that we should have a good marriage?
I have a question.
1 second. First digest that. Digest
You
it.
don't understand.
I understand. I'm married for over 10 years, my friend.
No, I understand that, but you don't
No,
go
he
through
does
breakups.
that, and girls still break over.
Guys, this is the point of this. The point, Baruch Hai, you'll ask me after.
Okay.
The point of this is not to make it into a comedy club. I can do that. We'll do it off camera, not on camera.
I have a question.
1 second. Let me first finish my shoe, then you'll ask the question. Why? You really made my. You guys picked up my mood. I gotta tell you the truth. So what did we conclude? Let's make a small conclusion. Number one, you have to have a madrich. You need someone to guide you. If your parents are bardat, if your parents are normal parents, that also works. But if your parents are doing a shidduch for their benefit and not for your benefit, which I know a lot of numbers like that, they want you to marry a certain girl because she's like this and like that, and they'll tell you everything. Good research they did, trust me. Excellent research, but for the wrong reasons. That's not good. But if a parent is bardat and wants to do what's good for the child, learn your child, guide him the right way, find the right person, that's something else. Number one, you need someone that's going to be madrich. You need it. This is a fact. I don't care how religious you are, how not religious you are. The rate of divorce in the not-religious world is 10 times more than the rate in the religious world. Regardless of what you tell me. So that means we're doing something right. I don't care if you want to cover your hair, you don't want to cover your hair, you want to wear pants, you don't want to wear pants, you want to keep kosher, you don't want to keep kosher. All these doesn't make a difference. If you're secular or religious, doesn't make. You need someone guiding you. helping you through these steps. Because you can make mistakes both ways. But you're less probable to make it a mistake and make a destruction in your decision of your life when you have someone guiding you. That's number one. Number two, you have to do your due diligence research before you get married, before you start going out even. You must do your research. You must find out who is this person, what is this person, is she going out with anyone else? I know girls, and guys that go out with multiple guys or multiple girls at the same time. I know a guy, yeshiva guy. This is why I said no to resumes. Yeshiva guy was going out with a girl, not knowing his best friend was also going out with the same girl. Listen to this. He went to get her a ring that week. She got engaged that day through the other guy. Now go find yourself. Go yeshiva. Yeah, datiyim. There's a lot of datiyut. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do derech eretz. How were you raised? Did you give your full attention and emotion to the relationship, or are you swimming? Are you swimming? One day you're with him, going out, free lunch. Over here, this guy comes to you for lunch. Over here, it's for dinner. Whoa, bam, 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 bam. This doesn't go there. This is not shidduch. This is called Zooland. Zooland. This is not called Torah mitzvot. When I heard this story, I'm telling you, I was sitting on the floor. I fell on the chair. That's how crazy it was. You're right. And I know guys like that too. Just to let you know. There's plenty of guys like that too. But why am I telling you this? Don't now try to be cool and say, listen, I'm going to do two in the same time. I'll make my decision faster. No, you'll confuse yourself even more. You'll put yourself, you'll put yourself in a bigger pit. And then when you want to make a decision, you're going to be stuck. That's what happens. Okay? Number one. Number three, you have to do your research. Ya habibi, do your research who this person is. You're going to spend the rest of your life with the person. One second, we'll take questions after this. Number four, very, very, very important. First date does not have to be, you're not going to a club. You're not going to, there's no showing off. You have to be genuine. Would you like for the guy to be genuine, to be himself? Everyone would want that. And everyone would want the girl to be themselves. There's no point right now in doing things out of the ordinary. Someone showed me a video. I saw this video. I couldn't breathe. I'm telling you, maybe I shouldn't say it. I'm going to say it anyways. She looked like a supermodel. She took off all the makeup, the wig, the dentures. Ya habibi, I died. She had one tooth only hanging. Like, ma'at osa. Ma'at osa. What are you doing? Why are you faking it to yourself? You don't need that. And if that's what the guy is looking for, you don't want that kind of guy. I promise you, because the same way how he looks at you that way, he'll look at someone else that way too. And then you're going to always have to doubt, is my husband a devoted person? Is he a reliable person? Is he a loyal person? That's going to be in the back of your head forever. Forever, that's what you're going to be thinking about. He's going to go to parties and go to a wedding, he's going to go out with his friends. Is he loyal? Is he looking at someone else? What's the problem? But if the person is genuine and the person is true to himself and he's amiti and they talk about it and they work on themselves, she'll never need to think that way. Why? Because you never gave her the reason to. Don't forget that. Of course, touching before getting married is a big no-no. It clouds the decision of the person. Sometimes it even makes the person need to get married to you because God forbid he's scared or she's scared because she did some kind of shtuyot with the person. Now she has no choice but to marry and she burns the rest of her life. And that's what happens, and the guy doesn't mind because the guy is a guy and the girl is a girl. Lamaisa. I'm not done. Hanan, I saw your hand, you can put it down now. We're not in first grade. I saw it already. Now, I'm going to finish with this. My opinion, I even spoke to a shadchan about this. After the first date, it's not kidai unless she's totally like, unless for sure, like mamash for sure, meaning hashkafa is totally one's in the other side of the world, and like you're going to have a date and she's mamash, her religious level for you, it's just not there. It's just mamish not there. Or she's totally benil. You don't see chen in her. You just don't find any sense of attractiveness, and you just call it a day, which is very important. Do not think because you're religious or you're not religious or you want to be pious that attractiveness is not important. It is so important to the degree. The Gemara says, I don't want to say what it says, whoever knows, Rav Akiva says that if you find someone better, you leave this one, you go to the better one. Again, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say, how important it is that you find an attractiveness to a woman. Be quiet. To the point, it's so important to the point that sometimes, after you get married, how the Chavot HaLevavot says, when a person wants to get mad at someone, he has to think of him as a baby. Can you get mad at a baby? I can't get mad at a baby. The guy's a baby, right? He's a little kid. He spilled the Coke. So what? He's a baby. You have to imagine a person as a baby. Sometimes that also saves marriages. I'm not now telling you to go find something that's not what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you to do that. The person should have a certain attractionist to the person. That's it. Now you can ask all your questions. Hanan, you can go first.
So you were the third rule you said out of the 5 was that you have to do your research. I keep hearing you say that. So the question is, there's many people, like personally about myself, I'm speaking of, that I didn't grow up with a good name. Purposely, I never really cared for it, right? So if anybody were to ask about Hanan, they wouldn't get a good report.